What is up, everybody? I'm Zach Pfeiffer, and this is your recap of episode 6 of season 45 of Survivor. I'm not Batman, I'm the Canadian, and we witnessed history, guys. This was a great episode. Definitely some flaws, and we'll talk about it, but Caleb has cemented his place in the Survivor Hall of Fame by successfully, for the first time in the new era, like Jamie did draw a safe scroll, but she did not need it. This was the first time the shot in the dark has actually shook up the game. Caleb did something crazy and it worked, and somehow every single person voted for him. Whew. So let's talk about how that happened, why I think it happened, and what's in store with this double elimination coming up next week. So let's start off before the non-merge merge. Sorry, I already put J Maya down. I wanted to organize it, but we'll get to it. So Kendra comes back, blindsided from this last tribal council, and is playing it really cool and being like, it's no big deal. Like, oh, I get it. Like, la la la. And she's like mad. She's doing that thing again. And so she's kind of vowing revenge on this tribe. Particularly, she really singling out Emily a little bit as the swing vote in that decision. So it seems like she was truly blindsided in that. I guess she really thought she had Emily in her pocket, but that's not how it happened. And then we get back over to Lulu 2.0, and they're looking for an idol because Sabaya's is placed back out there, and they want to find it before some sort of merge happens. And lo and behold, Papa Bruce, Uncle Bruce, Bruce, finds a Beware Advantage, and opens it immediately, and in front of everyone but Katurah, which is shocking. And it's included in an idol, and it's buried under the shelter. And we can think about what's really, really interesting here is there's a lot of parallels between this episode and Wentworth's episode, where she used an idol that she found under her shelter to negate a bunch of votes. 9, I believe. So I think that's just a fun little homage, but this was so much easier than what Kelly had to do. It was under a little bit of sand in a shelter that kind of had an opening already for it, and he's looking for it. But then a boat shows up, and with the boat showing up and Katurah now wandering around camp, which they say they want to vote her out. That's Jake was we've been trying to vote her out for a while now. So that's scary for Katurah. But a boat shows up, and they're like, get your stuff, you have 10 minutes and we're going to a new beach. And Bruce is like, oh shit. Confirmed in Jeff's episode, if he had left, he would not have had a vote until they officially merged. So that meant that going into this tribal council tonight, he would not have had a vote, which wouldn't have made a difference. But he searches, he can't find it. Jake is like, I lost my ring. And he becomes a really good actor all of a sudden. So they're looking for his ring, which is not a bad move on Jake's part. But Bruce finds an idol, and it's good until final 5. So it's not like Austin's or Sabaya's, which is interesting that happened. But he finds an idol, they get on a boat, they head on over to Reba's camp because they are not merging. But everyone's now on a beach, and it's really exciting, and everyone's talking, and they're talking astrological signs, and they're talking about how fun it is, and they're like, oh my god, we made the merge, which they should know that it's not the merge yet. This is the new era. This is Mergatory. Meanwhile, Drew's I want to play the game. And it's just bro, you are playing the game. You have to be social. This is when you win jury votes and start building new alliances. And I can see that he feels really good in his Reba 4. So why would he need more people? But Drew, you're missing out on the social game. You got to get in there. You got to play, be social. You can't just shut everyone down like Brando. So they hang out for a while, and then they head off into their challenge, where they draw random rocks, red or blue, and one person will get a colorless rock. And that will decide the teams that they're on. And if your team wins, you're safe at tribal council, and the other tribe is vulnerable. And that person that's in the middle gets to choose, and whichever tribe wins, if they're correct, then they're safe. If not, they're vulnerable. They did this last year with the exception that the winning tribe did not vote at tribal council. They just watched, as you can remember, Franny and Matt. They are all kind of centering around Jay, which is really interesting. They say it's that as Reba goes, that's the one person they could get rid of. Bello's down in numbers, it would level out Reba and Bello. Which is interesting that Reba is so quick to get rid of one of their own. Maybe this is spearheaded by D a little bit, Sifu as well, but it doesn't make the most sense to me, to be honest. I would try to keep the numbers a little bit stronger, a little bit longer. Yeah, I guess maybe they're just like worried that like the team that gets the lowest numbers will absorb the Lulus. But I don't know, it's weird. But then, of all people, Kendra, my dear, kind of like spearheads this Caleb campaign. Caleb is seen as a huge social threat in the game, and each season of Survivor, we like identify and define a new version of a threat. Sometimes it's someone who's really smart, sometimes it's someone who's really physical. This season, we're making Caleb the ultimate social threat. He knows everybody, he's very charismatic, he's a salesman after all. So I think that like that isn't hard for everyone to get around. It doesn't disturb Reba or Bello's numbers, keeps them intact, which is a smarter move, and kind of whittles away at these swing votes. You know, with just one of them left, then it's just one swing vote and not a pack of two, perhaps, if they think that Emily and Caleb are working together. Yeah, so then they settle on Caleb, and what is crazy is the new Bello beach, Bello is, basically just straight up, oh no. Yeah, Bello. Well, I forget which swap time it was. But they're just like, we're going to vote out Caleb. And Emily's like, huh? Yeah, that's fine with me. And it's clearly not fine with her. And I'm surprised no one talked about the fact that she was like, so she immediately goes tells Caleb, and she's like, Caleb, the numbers are following you. It's definitely you. Shot in the dark worth you. Like, play your shot in the dark. So that is how Caleb gets to the point of playing a shot in the dark, is Emily, which is great. Emily is playing such a big role in these like protecting Caleb moves, but also she doesn't go as far as vote for someone else. Like, she does vote for Caleb at Tribal Council, which is interesting. But we get to Tribal Council, and Caleb fights for his life. He's spitballing everything he can, trying to put the target on Jay and saying that Jay is the one that is the biggest threat in the situation and that they should vote for Jay instead of him. But in the process, he says something along the lines of getting rid of Jay would disturb the Reba women, and a pack of three can go down to a pack of two, and he calls out D and Julie in that, which I don't think is a good move for Caleb. That makes D your enemy, makes Julie your enemy, and you're right, you're gonna get 2 votes cast against you next time you can, and you don't have a shot in the dark anymore. So that was a weird fling. I don't know if that was just like him panicking or like a mistake, honestly, or it was calculated, trying to rile up something, but I don't think that was a good move. Ultimately, everyone votes, and I think a lot of votes were cemented on him during this like talk. He was swinging, but laying everything out so everyone could see how big of a threat Caleb is. Plays a shot in the dark. Austin doesn't vote, extends the life of his idol, and now it's a full-blown idol. So he has a full idol, Bruce has a full idol. We'll go through the advantages at the end. But yeah, they all vote. Caleb says he plays a shot in the dark. Jeff is like, safe. Like, he has no reaction at all. He is deadpan. I think inside he was flipping because he was so happy. But I think it's interesting that new Jeff is kind of like trying to be like as possible when it comes to that stuff, which is, you can have opinion, Jeff. But he's safe, and they count the votes, and all 11 are for Caleb. No one threw a vote somewhere else. And here's what we're going to talk about, is the fact that in Survivor, when you have 13 people voting, and you have the numbers, like, I don't know if Reba thought Bello was going to flip or Bello thought Reba was going to flip or what, but no one threw a vote somewhere else. And in a crowd of 13 people, it is so easy to hide and lie who you voted for. Like, I don't think, some people have never been to Tribal Council before at this point. So, like, you can't even think about, like, handwriting or everything. And in so many votes that keeping track of who's is what, like, no, you, like, vote for someone else in that group that is not you, and you protect. So that's Jay's fault. Like, people are like, oh, there's a certain level of luck in Survivor, and, like, Jay, like, it sucks that Jay got voted out here. But I was like, no, Jay didn't make a big enough and smart enough move. And when in her Survivor interviews with Entertainment Weekly, she talked about how crazy it would be if a shot in the dark actually worked and like nullified votes, which is so ironic that she predicted how she got out of the game. And I just think that if she was thinking about that pre-game and we're going to this huge vote and she knows her name's on the block, throw a vote on Emily. Do it then, not in the re-vote. Like, it's crazy to me. Crazy. So they re-vote. In the live scramble, which was nice to see a live tribal council in this format because it was truly live, they needed to decide who they were voting for. It sounded like Emily, and it was really scary for a second. And it would have been awful if Emily saved Caleb again and then went home as a result of it, which, and then we read the votes. 1 Emily, and then 10 J Maya, and J Maya goes home, and it's sad. She played a game. I think she made some bad moves, to be honest, but she was entertaining the 2 episodes that we saw her in. So J Maya joins pre-jury. I believe we'll have 2 more spots for pre-jury. I don't think the next 2 are going to the jury yet, if this is following the last couple of seasons. So we shall see. Who do I think is going next? Well, it's crazy because they're going to be divided into 2 groups of 6, and they're going to compete in an individual immunity challenge, and 1 person from each is going to win immunity, which means 5, 10 people will be vulnerable, 2 people will be safe, and it just depends on the divides. So I don't know, but I do think that I can talk about the vulnerable people at this point. Bruce was going to be a target if he was not safe. So Bruce is in trouble. Drew could be potentially in trouble. He has a lot of stuff, but safety with power, I think he might potentially use it soon. Emily could be in trouble. Caleb's in trouble. He's in trouble. He has some work to do. Sifu's always in trouble. Julie's fine. Jake's fine. Kendra, I think, is fine. Kelly's... Katura and Kelly are in trouble as well. If Jake was accurate about potentially going for Katura, this could be a time for Katura to go. Kelly's played a middle road, and it's been talked about her and Brando being in the middle. Kendra knows that. So, like, if it comes down to it, she might turn on Kelly. But if I had to say who I think is going home next week, I think it will be... Okay, I don't think this is going to happen, but narratively, how crazy would it be if Bruce and Katura were both eliminated this next episode? Like, poetic justice, perhaps? No one wins, 1 win? I don't know. I don't think that's happening. But I do think Bruce might be going home next week. I also think, looking at everybody... Yeah, I might be Bruce and Caleb. Finish the job, get Dad out. But who knows? It's going to all come... If they're on the same tribe, only one can go. So we will see what happens next week. Should be interesting. I think the episode title is called A Thorn in My Thumb. So we'll see what that means and who will say it. Crazy episode, y'all. Happy Survivor history. And I can't wait to talk to you all very soon. Mwah.